Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Dark and Twisted Alleys. Today we talk about Murder My Sweet. I'm Debbie Mack, and this is my co-host, F.R. Jameson. F.R.
Hello.
Jameson always does a wonderful job of summing up the plot. So go for it.
I'll do my best of
Yes.
Marlowe is hired, Philip Marlowe, private detective, is hired by a man named Moose Malloy, who is a large man very large man who wants to find his missing love Velma, who he knew before he went to prison. They go to a bar, there's a certain amount of trouble. Malloy disappears into the night. Marlowe does some more sleuthing, but doesn't find Velma. He's then hired by a man named Lindsay Marriott to protect him from Lindsay Marriott is going to meet blackmailers and hand some stuff over. He wants Marlowe along for protection. It all goes wrong. Lindsay Marriott dies. And as Marlowe gets deeper into that case, he realizes the two things are actually connected.
Yes.
I'm not going to go further into it.
We dare not.
Yeah,
Oh my
no.
God. It's like, yeah, how did these people all end up together? Okay, you have this guy Anthor, right? And
Yeah,
it's like, he comes up, the police, I think, bring him up.
yeah,
It's really interesting. Anyway, before we get to that, let's just talk about the very beginning. It's like this
yes,
whole thing is told in flashback. You
yes,
start with that picture behind you, it's perfect, He starts off blind, telling the
yeah,
cops stuff. Well, see, this is what happened. And it's interesting because this way nobody can complain about over narration
yes.
because he is literally telling the cops this stuff.
Yeah, he's literally telling the stories. You don't get lost. Well,
Ex
you don't get sort of just the temptation of masses of undernation for no good reason. There
Yeah,
is a reason.
exactly.
You
There's
can
always,
cut back to the police interrogation room and having him finishing the sentence there.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's very interesting. Um, how it eventually comes back to that in police interrogation room.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Now there is a bit.
anyway,
It's about half an hour into the film where he's brought in by the police for the first time, and then he leaves. I did
oh
think at that
yeah.
moment, has he finished giving the narration now? Because he's leaving the narration. But
No,
no,
no.
he's not blind here.
He's not blind yet. That's right. Yeah. We're not there yet.
Yeah. Yes.
But I've always loved the visuals in this one, especially the
Yeah.
appearance of the first client, Moose,
Yes.
who is not
Yes.
only big, but
Yeah.
he is like duh,
Yeah.
not very bright.
And it's
And
also
he
the
is
difference to the
violent.
book. Yeah, he is bad. It's not as violent as the book. But
Hmm.
the key difference to the book is that in book, and I think this works better, is that Malloy just meets him on the street. That Marlowe is just wandering down the street minding his own business. And Moose Malloy grabs him and leads him into the whole
Wow.
case. Um,
Wow.
yeah,
That's even more wow.
yeah.
I guess they
But
decided that was too improbable for the movies or something.
I think it just makes more sense that Malloy has just seen his sign outside the building and just gone, I'll just go hire this guy. It does make a deal more sense.
And is that, yeah, for
Yeah,
his character especially.
yeah, yes,
Interesting. Hmm. Well, yeah, it's been a long time since I've read the book.
yeah,
So, but I do remember the bar being described quite differently in the book. Let's put it that
yes,
way.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think they could have done what they did even in 1940 whatever.
Yeah, 43,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah. But and I think if I remember rightly, things are a lot more. I mean, Malloy does basically kill someone at the bar, which is another difference between this and the book is that Malloy is a lot more of an absence in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Here he
Yeah.
shows up a lot more than he does on the. He's there at the beginning and the end, largely in the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Moose
it's a
was
good
this.
Malloy. I mean, he's someone I know. I think primarily from Some Like It Hot. He's one of the goons in Some Like It Hot,
That's right. I'll be
and he's also
darned.
in Nightmare Alley, the original Nightmare Alley.
Huh.
But
It's
he's
been
sort
a
of
while since I've seen that.
yeah, he has the sort. He has sort of like a stereotype of a sort of big, ugly goon. He's also in
Yes.
Warren Beatty's Dick Tracy about him up.
Huh.
So he was still doing his thing, at the start of the 1990s.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really something.
Yeah.
Well, I love the stylistic flourishes on his voiceover. That's a, some of the things he says are just so funny, and in his dialogue,
Yeah.
it seems like he was coming up like with quips per minute here, you know. I was tempted to go back and compare it with something like The Big Sleep and see how they rated in terms of quips per minute. They just seem to keep coming. I've always especially loved, she was a charming middle-aged lady with a face like a bucket of mud.
Yes.
That has always just stayed with me. Very, very evocative.
Was it is it's not in this one, but I think one of my favorite chandlers. I think it's the High Window. With yeah, from 30 feet away, she looked like something ready to be adored close up. From close up, she looked like something to be adored 30 feet away.
Yes. Yeah, I love that one. Yeah. Um, I'm just a
What did you
small
think of him
businessman.
as?
Hmm.
What did you think of him as Marlowe?
Oh yeah. I think he's a really great Marlowe. In certain respects, he's more appropriate as Marlowe than um, Humphrey Bogart was, in
Yeah.
my opinion,
Yes.
because Marlowe is a nice guy at heart, but he's a
Yeah.
nice guy who's low on cash.
Yeah.
So he takes jobs like this improbable bodyguarding job. I mean, it was like,
Yeah.
what the hell is he doing a thing like that for? He even says, this isn't the kind of thing I would normally do, I think, at some point.
Yeah.
He says something to that effect. And it's like, okay, he needs the money, you know. And so, but if he's, he's the white knight guy, right?
Yes.
So it's like, would you expect him to be Humphrey Bogart? No, not really. I would expect him to be more like a kind of a regular guy who got into this business because he wasn't gonna, t put up with the BS from the DA. He ends up
Yeah.
getting canned for that. And, so he's just kind of a regular guy, down on his luck, so to speak, trying to make an honest living in
Yes.
accordance with his principles, which
Hmm.
apparently he has. And though he doesn't mind pretending otherwise if he has to.
Yes.
And he's not Sam Spade. That's the thing.
No.
He's
No.
basically a nice guy in a tough business. And that's the way Chandler always painted him as a guy who wanted to walk the mean streets but not become mean himself, that sort of
Hmm.
thing. So to me, Dick Powell is almost a perfect choice for this role. And I love Humphrey Bogart in The Big Sleep and all that.
Hmm.
In any role he's been in practically. And so it's not to slam on Bogart for sure.
Yeah, there's more than one interpretation is possible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there have been others. You mentioned
Yeah.
last time Robert Mitchum.
Yes.
Mitchum is a great choice for the role.
Or your favorite Elliot Gould.
Elliot Gould. Oh yes. Actually, Elliot Gould I liked. I've always liked Elliot Gould. What's not to like about Elliot Gould? I just I didn't like the script in that one. I didn't like
Yes.
where the story went sometimes. That's all.
I
I
thought
could
I
have
thought
taken Elliot Gould. if it was
I
just
thought
Ellie
I thought
Gold.
Dick Powell was largely a good choice, and I've never seen him in musical. There are a few moments I thought at the end of the scene, I got the impression he'd be going out and high kicking shortly. But there's a few moments like, I don't know if like a kind of certain forced cheerfulness at the end of a scene that kind of felt it as a prelude to dancing. Um, there, I mean, he's taller than Bogart, which is another thing that Marlowe is.
Mm.
And I mean, I don't know, is he that good looking? I mean, there is a bit where one of the women comes in and catches him shaving and says, you know, you've got a good physique. And he really doesn't. He
I
looks kind
know.
of,
I didn't know if they were being ironic or what.
yeah. I was like, yeah, I was thinking that, you know, James Garner, that's another man who wouldn't necessarily think of casting as Marlowe. James Garner does look very broad and muscular in that film. He does look like he's a tough guy, or
Hmm.
can handle himself at least in a way that Dick Powell possibly doesn't here. But I think
True.
the characterization, I mean, it's not fair for me to criticize anyone for being a little doughy. You're just gonna, but for the characterization, he does in the main kind of nail it. He does
Hmm.
get that kind of cynicism. There's the knight in shining armor as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah,
He has this dryness in his delivery that's just perfect. And it's
yes,
like, he doesn't overdo it.
no,
Um, I think thought he did a really nice job. And I mean, considering he was transitioning out of the whole song and dance phase,
yeah,
I think this was the first major step for him, wasn't it? Out of that
yes, yeah,
phase. Yeah.
yeah,
So, I mean, to me, he's got the glibness of Marlowe.
mhm,
That's the way it felt to me, that he had
yeah,
Marlowe's kind of dour sense of humor, so to
yeah,
speak. Yeah.
yes,
So,
and he does. I mean, I think in sort of the police interrogation scenes, he doesn't seem like he's going to break, or
hmm.
you know, he has holds his own. So there is a toughness to him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, he's sticking to his story, this is what
yeah,
happened, no
yeah,
matter how
yeah,
weird it sounds.
yes.
Because
And even
sometimes
in
it
the
does
book,
sound
Bruce
pretty
Malloy is
weird.
someone who intimidates the character. Yeah, Bruce Malloy actually picks him up and takes him somewhere. So even in the book, that happens.
Oh, wow. I like the short bits with the elevator operator. Well, your
Yes.
clients are starting to smell better. Oh, okay. And she's cute too. Oh, how
Yeah.
nice. Way to introduce the part of all this, the woman, the
Yeah.
quasi love interest, so to speak.
Yes. Well, there are two, aren't there? There's Claire Trevor and Anne Sheridan, who apparently
Yeah,
want to
Clara
play each
Trevor
other's
is,
roles.
I don't see her as a love interest so much as a femme fatale that Marlowe can see right away is
Yeah.
trouble on some
Yeah.
level. And he's willing to play along with her
Yeah.
to a certain
In another
extent.
film, she'd be far more hooked in the central character
Hmm.
because he could
Yeah.
possibly make a fatal mistake
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
regards to her.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
that scene in the toward the end in the beach house where
Yeah.
he's meeting her and it's pitch dark in there
Yes.
and she's smoking, and I immediately thought of Double Indemnity, the end of Double Indemnity before
Yeah.
the big shooting scene there between Phyllis Dietrichson and Walter Neff.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that just made me think of that. And of course, she's wearing a sparkly dress that the moonlight or whatever picks out the sparkles. It's like the things these people wear around the house. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just this old thing, yeah. This
Just
little
waits for
sparkly
someone to
thing.
come by.
Yeah, I was just waiting for a private eye to come by and question me.
Oh.
That's another thing I love. I love when she's questioning the widow there, who is listed in the phone book, I thought amusingly as under her name with widow of the husband. I was like, wow, how much information did they give in the phone book back then?
Yes. I mean,
Nowadays,
that's one of the things you look at and go, is that a real thing?
is
Did
that a
that
real
actually
thing?
happen?
I
And then,
know, I
yeah.
know. I know I didn't live then. I don't know. Is this real?
Yeah.
Or does that honestly, does it make it was that something they did? I have to look into that now. I want to look up some old phone books or something.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I just get fascinated by history sometimes and how
Yeah.
much changes and how much we
Yeah.
don't know about what came before.
Yeah. There's
Um,
weird little details that will just
the
disappear. That
the
that was really a thing, and now even when we were young, the fact that we still say, you know, shall I record something as if it's actual tape I'm recording
yes,
onto?
yes.
Go, do the kids of today say it like
I
that?
I I wonder what they say
Yeah,
because I my husband is always saying, I want to tape this. And I'm like, tape
yeah,
that?
yeah. I'm gonna tape that. Yeah, yeah.
He still uses the term tape. I'm like, old habits die hard. What can I say? Especially when we've cut the cord where I live now and it's like everything streams. It's just there
Yes,
all the time.
yes.
It's pouring into our TV. Massive amounts of content. So anyway, where let's see. So yes, the phone book was amusing.
Yes.
Um, let's see what I loved it the way he described of course I love the part where he goes to the house with her and her father's house and wasn't quite as big as Buckingham Palace, all
No,
those
no.
nice Chandlerisms and how waiting for her was like waiting something about a crypt and a mausoleum. I mean, the whole place kind of made me think about Citizen Kane, the
Yeah,
bigness of it. It was like big palatial stuff. Chandler always liked that kind of thing.
yeah,
The rich,
yes.
what the rich could get away with, that sort of
Philip
thing.
Marlowe's clients do tend to be quite wealthy. For such a poor private detective,
I
he
know,
does tend to get hired by very wealthy people.
I know. And then they stiff him or something. I don't know. Payment up front, Philip. Payment up front. Get a retainer.
Doesn't he more than once hand back the money?
At one point he did, yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Hmm.
yeah,
He didn't do the job, or he did it and it didn't quite work out.
yes,
Something like that. But it is interesting how this whole jade necklace thing and Velma Volante, or whatever her name was
yeah,
supposed to be, connect up.
yes,
And it's just like, okay, was that how did this happen? And then of course you have Anthor,
yeah,
Mr. Hollywood drug guy, I guess.
yeah,
And that was an interesting it's like Anthor, why did we get interested in Anthor? And then I remembered, okay, the cops mentioned him. They said stay away from Anthor. And it's
yeah.
like, okay, I'll stay away from Anthor, whoever the hell he is. Yeah. So, it's just really, once again, it's the usual kind of loosely constructed plot that comes together
Yeah,
in odd ways.
That's an interesting thing for the adaptations, though, is the adaptations have to have a better sense. I mean, we'll eventually get to Howard Hawks' The Big Sleep, which proves what I'm about to say altogether. But they have to have us a better sense of plot, or they
Mm,
don't take the audience with them. You know,
exactly.
yeah. I mean, this plot, I felt it's easier to follow the 1969's Marlowe's plot. We do sort of have to rewind to the film and go, "What are we? What's happening now?"
That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's yeah, I do find it easy to follow,
yeah,
even if it's a little bit coincidental or loosely connected
yes.
stuff.
But Marlowe doesn't have the voiceover, does it? This does have the voiceover, so that
That
leads
helps.
to that. Yeah, it helps. Whether you call it goes far as cheating, I don't know. But, books famously written in the first person, but yeah,
Yeah,
hard-boiled fiction writers have to avoid sounding like. It's so easy to fall into the trap of sounding like you're Philip Marlowe.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It is
yeah,
very easy.
and it's very, very. I mean, for this, even now, for this kind of film, and you're spoofing it, and you're doing the hard-boiled narration, the thing you reach for is something like this. You reach for Murder My Sweet, a Philip Marlowe adaptation where it's there ladled all over it, and you just change things around to make them funnier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even now, it's a kind of touch point for that hard-boiled private eye stuff.
Mm, hmm.
I can't remember if the Big Sleep has a voiceover. I don't. Well, we'll get to it.
It might have in
Yeah.
places, but not that much. I can't
I don't.
remember.
I don't think it would be as intrusive as this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this had much more because he's talking to the cops and this is what
Yeah.
he's telling
Yeah.
them.
Yes. And we get to a happy ending.
Yes. Despite burnt eyeballs from
Yeah. I think
the firing
temporarily
of a
burnt
gun.
eyeballs. I don't think it's a suggestion he's now permanently blind.
No, he's not permanently blind.
Yes.
No, he's just going to be blind for a brief period there.
Yeah.
I love the way the cop said, oh, probably a couple of months. Something like that. You'll be fine in a couple of months. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just stumble around my apartment in the meantime.
Yes. Not earning any money.
I know, like I usually do. Yeah, it has a very nice happy ending there with the redhead going off with him in the cab.
Yes.
And he
Yes.
smells
I
so
mean,
nice, Nulty. I have this sudden desire to kiss you, Nulty.
yeah.
Shades of Some Like It Hot.
It's one of
Ah,
those things in this kind of film of when the characters end up together like that. Do they really have the background for that? Is he really want to spend the time remembering the man who essentially brought down her father?
I know. I know. I'm so attracted to you. You shot
Yeah,
my dad, or yeah,
yeah,
you caused my dad to be shot.
yeah, yeah.
That's what
If
it
you hadn't
was.
started meddling, I'd still have this happy home in this mansion, and now who knows what's happening.
Yeah. And who cares about that jade necklace anyway?
Mm.
Ah,
That's very much a MacGuffin, though, isn't it?
it
I
is
mean,
very much a
no one
MacGuffin.
really cares too much about the jade
I
necklace.
know. It's like the jade necklace. Yeah, sure. Yeah, it was very much a MacGuffin.
Yeah, even in the film itself, it's a very. I mean, even a Hitchcock film doesn't have MacGuffins as easily forgotten This one is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It's just incidental, at the end of
yeah,
the day.
yeah, yeah.
And it
But
was
it
interesting. Go ahead.
no, go on, you go.
I was just gonna say it was interesting the way Moose barges in. It looked like he came in through a window.
Yeah,
I was like, how did you get through the window? Isn't that like a big glass pane?
yeah.
Did they just suddenly not have a window there? I don't know. It wasn't
That's
the door.
that's different to the end. And in the end, he invites Moose to. In the end of the book, he invites Moose to his office, and also invite to get what the married name is, which is actually the Claire Trevor part, who is Velma. Invites her to the office at the same time, and that's
Ah,
kind of where the confrontation comes. Or was it his apartment, one or the other? But it's yeah, that's where the confrontation comes.
hmm.
He brings together. It's interesting sort of having a noir film with a happy ending, but I guess when you have a whodunit, that's where you end up. It's like you need to resolve what went before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and rather than a lot of noir will kind of give into nihilism, sort of double indemnity. I guess Frederick Murray's character is kind of redeeming himself at the end, but he is dying.
Hmm.
A lot of them end in that kind of sort of grim way. Yeah, we watch Gun Crazy, which is a very bleak ending. But if you
Hmm.
have a get it, it has to put all the pieces together. You're kind of very much in the realm of positivity. See, the world does make sense. We can solve things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So even if it's not perfect, you've resolved them.
yeah, yeah. I guess it's a one that bucks the trend. I mean, it's odd. It's oddly because Bogart and Bacall will also end up together a few years
Hmm.
after this in a big sleep. Um, and it's odd that Marlowe, who's perpetually a sort of lone figure in the books, ends up having these endings forced upon him.
Yeah,
While Sam
exactly.
Smith, who's far more of a ladies' man, admittedly in that book there is only one female character, but he's far more of a ladies' man. He does end up alone at the end of the film.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it's more fitting noir wise.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But he is this lone. Marlowe's this lone knight who shuns human contact in the books.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He does.
and he's much more comfortable at home playing chess games, and here he is hooking up with people. What is really at the end of his story and having happy endings, and
Yeah. Doesn't really seem like it makes that much sense. That's why I keep thinking, quasi love interest.
yeah.
Because what real love is there? It's like, what's going to last? Not much. If he's Philip Marlowe ends up alone, which is why I could never quite get used to the notion of Poodle Springs. It's like he goes off and gets married.
Well, playback does end with character from Longer. Is it Loring? Lorna Loring calls him up at the end of playback and says,
Mm.
"I'm still in love with you. Let's get married."
Oh, wow.
So that's how the last Philip Marlowe novel ends.
Wow. See, I haven't read that, so.
Yeah, it's not very good, but it's the one that's ignored for a reason.
They never made it into a movie.
It's the only one not without a film adaptation.
I wonder if I could take it and make it more interesting.
There is good stuff in there.
Might be
Yeah,
worth it.
I mean, the start is very good, and there was good bits in between. There's not a lot that happens in it,
Huh.
and there is a when that character calls up at the end, it's kind of because they are so disconnected as books, and talking about the sort of gangster here. There is a similar character in The Big Sleep, and there's a similar character in The Little Sister of the Marlowe adaptation. you know, the all powerful LA gangsters thing, but it's always a different character. There's no, you know, perpetual gangster head he's constantly hustling with. It's somebody else all the time
Yeah. There's
because they
some
are
new
so dis.
bad guy.
Yeah, I mean, Bernie Oles gets. I mean, I don't know, I can't remember how many times Bernie Oles appears, but he gets mentioned. It's going to constantly. I used to work with Bernie Oles, and that's
Hmm.
my reference.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's not like Mike Hammer, who has a secretary and various people who's always around, or I'm trying to
Yeah.
think of
Yeah,
another one.
even Sam Spade had secretary, yet he was
Yeah,
in partnership with somebody.
yeah,
I mean, these people are established, and
yes,
Philip Marlowe is just a lone wolf.
yes, yes. But then stuff,
Um,
yes, it is. Very good. This is actually the first Marlowe adaptation, so it's like there is the Falcon Takes Over with George Sanders, which is kind of like a saint-like character,
uh-huh.
which is the year before this, but basically takes this story and turns it into a book, an episode in that ongoing tale of the Falcon, who's a character no one remembers anymore.
Hmm.
But that's technically the first Raymond Chandler adaptation, even though it just takes the story and then RKO the year after. Thought, well, that's a good story. We can do it again and do it some more high class.
Well, that sounds
And
really
that's
interesting.
and that's what this film is. But it's called Murder My Sweet because he was such Dick Powell was such a well-known song and dance man that Farewell My Lovely might get mistaken for being a
Confused,
musical.
yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. It sounds like a musical, Farewell, My
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yes. The Murder My Sweet. Well, the kind of the sweets in there has that kind of connotation that there's a lightness to it.
Mm-hmm.
While also having
Yes.
the together with bringing in the sort of crime enthusiast.
Murder My Sweet sounds better than Murder My Lovely, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I noticed that Marlowe doesn't mind completely screwing up a crime scene and getting his
Yeah.
fingerprints all over it.
I think that's going to happen all the time, though, isn't it? Kind of like Philip Marlowe. I think even in the books, Philip Marlowe can't see a murder scene that he won't go and pore over.
Yeah, I mean, just blunder on in and just do whatever with it.
Yeah.
At least when I watched Perry Mason, I noticed he would use a handkerchief or something to keep from leaving fingerprints. So it was like, okay, yeah, that would make sense.
Yes, yes.
And this was on TV, mind you. But anyway, I don't know. Um, so what else can I say about else can we say about Murder My Sweet?
It's
Um,
not a bad. I mean, I enjoyed it. It's not, but saw it years and years ago. And watched it again. I remember the bandage around the eyes. I didn't remember much about what actually transpired in it, but I enjoyed it. I don't think it quite has. Well, it doesn't have the heft of the Bogart one.
mm,
Um, I think I probably did I prefer the James Garner one more? I don't know. I liked all the. It's an unfair comparison, and I liked all the '60s stuff, which obviously this film can't offer.
hmm.
The things
Yes,
I really like
we're
about
not
the
there
Marlowe
yet.
stuff, it's the setting. And
Yeah.
that time being, this film can't do that. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I thought he made a good, in the main, a good Marlowe.
Hmm. Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
I also really love Claire Trevor's performance.
Yes. Yeah.
She really throws herself into that kind of role.
Yeah.
And and the girlfriend, I thought she was good,
Yeah.
the redhead.
Yeah. Good without being overly memorable.
Yeah, I mean, it's a
Yeah.
smallish,
Yeah.
she has kind of the thankless role of girlfriend in a sense,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I always, it's like play up some of these women who are in there because it's like they play an important part.
Yeah.
They deserve some mention too.
Yes.
These Dark City Dames or whatever the name of that book is that Eddie Muller came out with. Noir City Dames, something like
Yeah.
that. Anyway, I gotta check out that book. He's an
So next
excellent
month we're gonna,
writer.
yeah. Sorry?
He's an excellent writer, Eddie Muller.
Yes. I do have one of his books, yes.
Yeah. I mean, he just writes in a way that makes you want to read it. It's like it's as if it's like novelistic in a sense.
Yeah,
It's got a lot
that's
of
helpful.
um, very informal language that
Yeah.
connects you right away with the material. Anyway, enough of my gushing about Eddie Muller, who is truly the czar of noir.
That's a good phrase.
It is, isn't it? That's what they call him, the czar of noir. Um,
Next
so
month, we're going to stick with Philip Marlowe and do the most recent adaptation, which is Liam Neeson in
Liam Neeson.
Marlowe, which is an adaptation of The Black-Eyed Blonde, which is one of the books, Philip Marlowe books not written by Raymond Chandler.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah,
Well, I look forward to that.
yeah.
All righty.
So that will be. It seems, as far as I can see, since the Robert Mitchum version, that's the last time Raymond Chandler's adapted for the big screen. But it's been this and Poodle Springs. Well, I think both might have been technically made for television, but we'll see.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting. Okay. Well, I look forward to that. And for everyone out there watching or listening, thanks for listening or watching. And watch a good movie this month and come back for what are we doing? Marlowe,
Marlowe,
the most
the most,
recent Marlowe
yes,
movie
yes,
called Marlowe.
yes.
Until then, take care and be seeing you.
It's good. See you soon.